Warning, this episode contains adult language, mature situations, new interpretations of old literary antagonists, historical caste system drama, Machiavellian schemes, criminal investigations, and manga news. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Listener discretion is advised. Episode 427, Moriarty the Patriot. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Spiraken Manga Review. I'm your host Zan, saying konnichiwa, aloha, buongiorno, and what's up? I sincerely hope all of you are doing well, and I hope you're excited for another fun-filled episode, because I definitely am. And if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. Spiraken, or some podcasts and reviews about connectly enhanced narrative, is a podcast organization where we talk about new fun things, specifically geeky things. We talk about them, we tell you the pros and cons about it. Since this is the manga review, obviously we're talking about manga. I tell you how the art style is, the overarching plot, the characters, and most importantly, if it's worth investing your time in or not. You don't have to read anything that I and my co-hosts say, but we try to be educational, enlightening, exciting, and most importantly, entertaining. You can check out any of our earlier episodes at www.spiraken.com. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, and various other social media sites. Just type in Spiraken, that's S-P-I-R-A-K-N, in the search engine. I guarantee you find us one way or the other. You can also email me if you have any questions at Zan, that's X-A-N, @Spiraken.com, or you can tweet me at Spiraken. And if you enjoy what we do, you can support our Patreon to help us create more fun content for you to enjoy. Now that all that chilling's out of the way, I hope that all of you are doing well. I'm actually doing really good. I'm excited. Otakon has messaged me back, and more importantly than that, I officially know when my panels are. So if you're going to be going to Otakon, you can check me out, where I'm going to be doing 22 mangaka every grown-up should know. That's going to be on Friday at 1. And then we have the other panel, which I'm really excited for, the Insane Manga Challenge, free from quarantine. Yes, it is a new Insane Manga Challenge where you can win lots of fun stuff. And that's Saturday at, I believe, 2 o'clock. I will update next episode, but I am so excited to be back at Otakon, and it's going to be a blast. Unfortunately, Greta will be missing Otakon again because, well, that's just how Otakon goes. At Otakons, two things are guaranteed. One, I'm going to miss the Hidden Secret Hangout. And two, Greta will not show up. Well, hopefully next year that changes. I really am hoping for that. But that's not what you're here for. You're not here to listen to me talk about my stuff. You're here to listen to me talk about manga. And I am actually excited to talk about this, not because of the reasons you think. And so, let's get to it. So, if you remember from the last episode, I spun that one, that only, the Wheel of Manga. And it dictated to be there reviewing a manga that was written by Ryōsuke Takeuchi and illustrated by Hikaru Mikoshi. Now, this manga was published by Shueisha, brought over here by Viz Media, and it's actually released in Jump Square magazine. Kind of weird, haven't seen that magazine in a while. It's a shonen series that is a crime mystery series, and its original run was 2016 and still coming out, and there are 15 volumes of this series. And the name of this manga that we're talking about, this adaptation of a famous story, is Yukoku no Moriarty, or Moriarty the Patriot. And this manga has done something very different. It has taken one of the classic literary antagonists and try to make them into a hero in a slightly disturbing and confusing way, which is a little frustrating, but hear me out, it will make sense. So, in the late 19th century, the British Empire has become a global power. Now, because of that, the caste system is still existing. Pretty much, if you're a noble, you rule everything. If you are impoverished, there's no chance you're going to rise to the top. And worse than that, this class system has caused the lower class to be downtrodden and beaten into submission. And the only thing which is saving them is just existing. Now, one of the rich families, the Moriarty family, has decided to adopt 2 orphans as a charity case, essentially to make themselves look better. And this is under the advice of their eldest son, Albert Moriarty. So the 2 orphans they adopt are William James and Louis James. Now, Louis is a very sickly child, and his older adopted brother, William, is very intelligent, and he's beloved around the community because he actually helps people. If someone has a problem, he's able to figure it out because he's super intelligent. And so these two end up conspiring with Albert to take out the rest of the Moriarty family, burn down the estate, and then use that power to help other people by destroying this class system with a very intricate murder system. So yeah, this is a very insane story following 3 antagonists who want to change the system by killing supposedly evil people. They solve crimes to create worse crimes. That's what this is about. Now, our three main characters are William James Moriarty, like I said, the middle Moriarty brother and a crime consultant who's super intelligent, and he ends up becoming a math professor. Yes, this is James Moriarty, the villain and arch nemesis of Sherlock Holmes. And unfortunately, this series does not make you realize he is that one because they're all named James Moriarty. And it's a little frustrating that you don't know which one it is until after reading it 4 times. Next, you have Albert James Moriarty, who is the oldest of them. He's the only true Moriarty and the true heir to the throne. He adopted William and Louis, and he believes in the dream of remaking society, and he's the one essentially in charge, which is kind of BS, because if you've read any Sherlock Holmes, you know that the criminal mastermind, the Napoleon of crime, James Moriarty would not be listening to someone, especially an older brother. Kind of BS, but we go with it. And then there's Louis James Moriarty, the youngest. He was raised in the orphanage alongside William. He's as closely as to a real brother. He has an unknown disease. That was fixed by the Moriarty family, and now he is completely devoted to William's insane dream, and he does whatever he says. His job is to take care of the home that they live in and just basically be their live-in butler. So the three Moriartys, they are crime consultants. Now, you're probably thinking, so a crime consultant is like the typical detective consultant who comes to help solve a crime that no one can figure out, right? No. What the Moriartys do is they find someone who has a grievance with the upper class. Say, for example, you had a landowner who didn't help you when your child was dying. They come up with an elaborate scheme to make the landowner give you all their money, and then they kill the landowner and make it so that it seems like a natural coincidence that occurred. Or, example, you found that there's someone who's abusing a bunch of children who are evil. Well, they set it up in a way that no one can find out that you killed this person, but they die a horrible death. So their job is to assist with setting up crime scenes where the victim does the killing without leaving any evidence of their involvement behind, while building a huge super base for their crimes. What I mean by a base is they create a network of individuals who are willing to do anything for the Moriartys. And the manga is broken up into these little criminal cases that they set up in order to set their crimes in motion. The first one is, of course, their ascent into nobility by killing off the Moriarty family. The second one deals with a landowner who's abusing his tenants and how they get revenge. And the third one deals with a upper-class loving person who wants to make sure that the upper class does not mingle with the lower class and repercussions from an incident that occurred because of their machinations. And that is what the series is about. It's about Moriarty setting up some sort of crime and then them enacting it. So the plot does make sense and it is an engaging story. There are several issues with it, however. For example, the fact is that you don't really know which Moriarty you're following for the majority of the first volume. Once you realize that William James is the main character, it kind of gets better, but by that point, it's the third story and it's lost a lot of the traction behind it, I gotta say. And you're introduced to more characters later on that kind of don't make sense. I would have rather have had the introduction of the characters and then had the origin story instead of the origin story first. It's a little frustrating with that. Now, the art style, for the most part, it's really well done. The character design is very clean. The backgrounds are great. There's one sequence that I really enjoyed, which shows when a couple of the victims who've been wronged get their revenge, and it's them outside with William James. They're kind of declaring their allegiance to him to be part of his criminal network. In a way, it's a great sequence, and I think that's really well done. However, it's really hard to tell who is who a lot of the times with the Moriartys. Everybody else, you know who it is. The Fat Baron, yeah, he looks like that. The original Albert Moriarty, the younger brother who gets killed horribly, that you know exactly who he is because he has the curly hair. Women, no problem. It's just William, Albert, and Louis until they become adults. You can't tell who's who. It's a bit frustrating. And overall, the series, I like the concept. I really like the concept, and I would really like this to work. But it just didn't do it for me. It really didn't. I think that the fact that you have the Moriarty split into 3 characters is kind of a bad choice to make. it just doesn't make sense why you do that. I mean, if it was that William James was adopted, he killed his entire family, now he's become Moriarty. Makes sense. It just feels needless to have these three characters there. I mean, I get that each one has a different role. Like, you have Albert, who takes care of the house, and then James is the professor. But, I mean, William James. I hate the fact that each one is named frickin' James, because you have Louis James, Albert James, William James. Then you have the original Albert James, who was the actual legitimate brother of Albert James, because they both were named Albert James, which makes no sense whatsoever. Why would you have two brothers named the same fucking name? It's ridiculous. It really is. It's frustrating and kind of annoying. I have to admit, it's very annoying. And overall, I thought about it, and while I really want to love this, I can't. And for that reason, I'm going to give it a gift from your crazy Aunt Muriel. It's okay but forgettable, because it's nonsensical. There's some great beats to it, but it just does a major disservice to this literary character that they borrowed to make something new, and it's not as good as it could have been. It has so much potential, and it just drops it. It really does. This is just making me kind of perturbed, I gotta admit. So for that reason, I think we're just going to leave it here. For the most part, I really wanted to like this, but in the end, this is mediocre at best. Except for two reasons, this almost got a typical readmaterial at a local correctional facility or psychiatric institute, which is our second lowest rating. This is a middle of the ground because the concept was really well done. The concept that he is a crime consultant who sets up crimes. That's actually really creative, and it's setting up his network of associates. I love that fact. It's just, there's too much bloat to this manga. That is the thing. It's too bloated. If you cut that out, fixed a little bit, I could really enjoy this, and I think that you'd really enjoy this. Now, if you've read this and you disagree with me, email me personally, zan@spiraken.com, or tweet me at Spiraken. Let me know what you thought about this. If you liked it, if you didn't, what are your thoughts about this concept of taking this literary character and then doing this whole thing with him? Let me know. Remember, you can check out any of our earlier episodes at www.spiraken.com. You can also watch our live reviews, our reactions, and some of the other cool things at youtube.com/Spiraken. And speaking of which, if you're a con goer, we have our con survival guide, video number 1, where we talk about 10 essential items for you to enjoy. So definitely have a look at it. And so with that in mind, let's actually get to the awesomeness that is the manga releases for the week. And I gotta admit, for this week, July 20th, 2021, we have 71 releases, and holy shit, there are a lot of releases. So what was released this week? We have 8686, Volume 8, the light novel, Asadora, Volume 3, Battle Angel Alita, Mars Chronicle, Volume 7, Beastars, Volume 13, Bofuri, I Don't Want to Get Hurt, So I'll Max Out My Defense, Volume 2, the manga. Breasts Are My Favorite Thing in the World, Volume 4. Call Girl in Another World, Volume 1. Can't Stop Cursing You, Volume 2. Captivated by You, the manga. Children of the Whales, Volume 17. Cirque de Freak, the manga, Volume 3. Cocoon Entwined, Volume 3. Colorful, a novel. Combatants Will Be Dispatched, Volume 6, the light novel. Cutie and the Beast, Volume 3. Eden Zero, Volume 12. Fiancé of the Wizard, Volume 4. Gotcha Girls Core, Volume 1. Goblin Slayer, Volume 12, the light novel. Golden Japanesque, A Splendid Yokohama Romance, Volume 3. Hell's Paradise, Jokuraku, Volume 9. High School DxD, Volume 4, the light novel. I Was a Bottom-Tier Bureaucrat for 1,500 Years, and the Demon King Made Me a Minister, Volume 2, the manga. ID Invaded, Break Broken, Volume 2. If the RPG World Had Social Media, Volume 1, the light novel. I'm the Villainous, So I'm Taming the Final Boss, Volume 1. I'm the Villainous Daughter, So I'm Keeping the Last Boss, Volume 1. I'm Great Priest Imhotep, Volume 10. In the Land of Lead, Volume 3, the light novel. Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon on the Side? Sword Oratory, Volume 16, the manga. Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, Volume 16, the light novel. Carnival, Volume 12. Last Round Arthurs, Volume 5, the light novel. LDK, Volume 16, which I'm surprised that's still coming out. Love of Kill, Volume 3. Mint Chocolate, Volume 3. Number 5, Volume 1. Orient, Volume 4. Otaku Elf, Volume 2. Please Put Them On, Takamine-san, Volume 2. Rascal Does Not Think of a Sister Home Alone, light novel. Rascal Does Not Dream of Orosuban Imoto, light novel. Raw Hero, Volume 5. ReZero Starting Life in Another World, Chapter 4, The Sanctuary and the Witch of Greed, Volume 2, the manga. Reborn as a Space Mercenary, I Woke Up Piloting the Strongest Starship, light novel, Volume 1. Reign of the Seven Spellblades, Volume 3, light novel. Rent-A-Girlfriend, Volume 7. Ruby, Official Manga Anthology, Volume 5. Sasuke and Miyano, Volume 3. She Professed Herself Pupil of the Wise Man, Volume 1, the manga. Shed That Skin, Ryogasaki-san, Volume 2. So I'm a Spider, So What, Volume 12. Spy Classroom, Volume 1, the light novel. That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, Volume 5. The Ancient Magus Bride, Jack Flash and the Fairy Case Files, Volume 3. The Dangers in My Heart, Volume 1. The Dark History of the Reincarnated Villainess, Volume 3. The Eminence in Shadow, Volume 1. The Executioner Way of Life, Volume 2. The Invincible Shovel, the light novel, Volume 4. The Quintessential Quintuplets, Volume 14. The final volume of Quintessential Quintuplets, which is being released. So if you have not read this series, check it out. The final volume to see who he ends up with. And I gotta say, it was not what I expected at the ending, but I digress. The Witch and the Beast, Volume 6. The Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting, Volume 1. To Your Eternity, Volume 14. Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, Volume 10. Uncle from Another World, Volume 2. Unnamed Memory, Volume 3, the light novel. Uzumaid, Our Maid is Way Too Annoying, Volume 1. Wizards of Mickey, Volume 4. And Zozo Zombie, Volume 11. Woo, I shotgunned that really quick. But yeah, the ones I'm interested in for this are definitely To Your Eternity, Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting, Quintessential Quintuplets, Ancient Magus Bride, Spy, Classroom, So I'm a Spider, ReZero, Reborn as a Space Mercenary, Otaku Elf, If the RPG World Had Social Media, Goblin Slayer, Children of the Whales, Bofuru, Asadora, Beastars, and Battle Angel Alta. Which of these are you interested in? Let me know in the show notes down below. Anyway, I gotta say thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate it. I love doing this podcast. I'm gonna keep doing it as long as I can. I hope all of you are doing well. I hope you're excited for another fun-filled episode next week. And next week, we're going to be 1 week away from Otakon. So we're going to be talking more about the panels I'm talking about. And I should be releasing my second video where we're talking about how to budget for a convention. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. And let's get to the part you've all been waiting for. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about that one, that only, the Yes, friends, a Wheel of Manga, except no substitute. Now, what is the Wheel of Manga? The Wheel of Manga is a Wheel of Fortune with 10 slots on it. And what I've done is I've assigned a manga title to each of the 10 slots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin the Wheel of Manga. Whatever number it lands on, the manga that's in that slot is the manga that I'm going to review in the next episode of the Spiraken Manga Review, episode 428. And I actually have 2 light novels on here because I couldn't find some of the stuff. So we're going to see what happens. So let's spin and see what we're going to review in the next episode, shall we? Number 10. Oh, so, okay. So in the next episode, I'm going to be reviewing a light novel that came out yesterday. Yes, it's one which I didn't really expect to get. I was really hoping for To Your Eternity, but whatever. So in the next episode, I'm going to be reviewing a new light novel that's about it's an isekai in sci-fi place, I think. We're talking about Reborn as a Space Mercenary. I woke up piloting the strongest starship. I know usually I don't do light novels that much. I want to say that for the book review, but I think that this should stay in the manga section, so we'll see how it goes, because there may be a manga adaptation too. But we'll see. Guess that's it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to like and subscribe. Support our Patreon. And I'm going to keep doing this as long as I can. Thank you guys for listening. You guys brighten my day when I see your notes and your messages. So keep supporting the podcast. As usual, I'm your host, Zan. I'm Gonzville. Catch you guys next time, and keep reading manga. See you later.